Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's up? What's up? My name is Matthew Bivens, and welcome to the Mother Lovin' Podcast. Yes, I'm so happy that you're here, hanging out with me, and if this is your first time, awesome. This is going to be fun. You're going to get something cool out of today's episode. And if you're a returning listener, then thank you for coming back. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting the message of living your abundant, loving life. That's what we're all here about. Yes. And I want to kick things off today with some magic. I've started to do this in the episodes recently, probably the past couple of months, starting off with magic and sharing these magical moments. And what magic is it's our ability to influence ourselves, other people, and life in a powerful way. And you are a magic maker. You are creating magic constantly, every single day, but you may not be aware of it. And so what I like to do is share magic, big or small, so that you hear examples and that you can reflect and say, wow, I am creating these moments in my life all the time. And it really just helps to bring you present, helps to create gratitude, and really empower you. So my magic today has to do around fitness. A little bit of a backstory. For the past 5 years, I have been taking a quarterly fitness assessment called a game day. The game day is part of the Your Day Balance Game, which is a health and fitness platform that's powered by Balance and Love. And I've been playing the Your Day Balance Game for over 5 years, and it really has been a huge component in the shifts that I've made physically, in my lifestyle, and consciously. And that's because the Your Day Balance Game is three-dimensional. It tackles the physical, it tackles lifestyle elements, and it tackles that conscious piece. And so the game day is how you measure the physical. And like I said, I've been taking game days for 5 years, and there are 5 levels to a game day that you can climb. Starts out at beginner, then it goes to intermediate, then advanced, then pro, and then finally at the top you have all-star. And over the years, I have climbed that ladder to the pro level. So I'm at the second highest level in the Your Day Balance Game. So today I was taking my pro game day, and I've taken, 5 or 6 pro game days, and every one is different. And, each experience is different. My nerves going into it, how my body feels going into it, it's always different because your body's constantly shifting. And really what the game day does is it reveals your habits across the last 90 days. And that's why I wanted to share that magic today, because it really does go nicely with today's topic, which is about my success rituals that empower my health, my relationships, my business, and my spirituality. So my magic was that I scored a 77 on my game day out of 100. And my previous score was a 78, so I actually went down a point. But there is magic in that. And the magic really for me is that one of the components of the game day at the pro level is a squat hold. And you probably experienced some variation of this if you've ever done like a wall sit, where you sit down with your back against the wall, your butt against the wall, and you slide down as if you're sitting in a chair, and you just hold it. And you really start to feel your thighs start to activate, your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back. All of that really starts to light up, and you feel the burn after maybe 15 seconds, probably definitely 30 seconds. And so in the pro game day, you do that for 1 minute on the wall, then you rest for 15 seconds. You do 1 minute off the wall, rest for 15 seconds, and you do that 10 times. It's a lot. In all, you are squatting, going up and down and moving for close to 30 minutes. And that is a long time to be sitting in that fire. So that's what you feel. After a couple of minutes, you feel the fire. So in my last game day, I was able to really surrender and tap into my peace and tap into my breath and flow for 20 minutes. And today, I flowed for 21 minutes. So that is magic, influencing myself to be surrendered for one additional minute. Because when you start to get up there in your time, every second feels like an eternity, right? It can, actually. It doesn't always, but it can. And your legs can start to shake and your body can start to ache. And what I found today was that I went in with a very peaceful mentality. I played some really just chill, relaxing music. It was Tibetan meditation bowls, so it was very calming. I had my eyes closed, and I focused on my breathing. I focused on breath. And that's one of the things that I've learned over the past 5 years is how vital breath is to life. Obviously, we can only go a couple minutes without breathing before, life ceases. But when you're in a stressful situation, whether it's physically stressful like I was today, or emotionally stressful, or mentally stressful, breath can really power you through those situations. That's why with young kids, when they're having temper tantrums, what do parents say? We say, breathe, breathe, because that breath, when you flood your body with that oxygen, it calms you down. So that's what I was able to do today, influence myself to tap into my breath and flow for 1 extra minute in the squat holds. And so if you're curious to what squat holds feel like, I definitely encourage you to give it a try. Just go over to your wall, sit with your butt against the wall, put your feet about 2 feet in front of you, and just slide down till your legs are parallel with the floor. And you're in a seated position. And put your arms out in front of you and just sit there and hold it. See if you can hold it for up to 1 minute. And what you'll notice is that after, maybe, like I said, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, your muscles really start to feel it. But what really happens is the conversation in your head, the fears will start to come out. I can't do this. I'm not strong enough. This burns. When is this going to be over? And it's those conversations that you surrender to and you let them go and you focus on breathing. And so that's just a little tip. I teach a conscious fitness class here in Atlanta, and some of you have joined and have come. And so shout out to Tyrone. And I teach this class in Atlanta, and it's one of my favorite things is to really unlock for folks the power of breath, because we're not always very conscious of breathing. And a lot of times in a gym setting, we're told and we're taught to hold our breath and to strain and to and release breath that way, as opposed to deep inhales and deep exhales. For those of you who do yoga, that's a big part of yoga, So anyway, that was my magic today. And I just invite you all to reflect on your magic. Where are you creating magic in your life? Now I want to give a shout out to a recent listener, show a little listener love, and I appreciate you so much just for tuning into the show. And when you take that additional step to reach out to me, to suggest a topic for the show, or to ask a question, or to just send me some love, I truly appreciate it. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for that act. And I like to just give shout outs to different listeners. And I don't have enough episodes, honestly, to give shout outs to all of you, because you all reach out like so prolifically. It's amazing. I experience an abundance of love coming from you all. So today's listener love goes to Trey. And Trey, I just really appreciate, man, your openness and your willingness to be vulnerable and to just share your story. And, that vulnerability around something that we've all probably gone through, and that's the end of a serious relationship. That's really, it's a tough time. I know it. I've been there. But you sharing and the way that you shared, that just indicates that strength that's within and your courage, right? Your courage to put yourself out there like that. And, I know you're going to flow with it and you're going to flow through it. So Trey, I appreciate you. And if you have something you want to share with me, if you want to connect, if you want to give feedback, suggest a topic, I don't know, whatever you want, I'm available. And, I can do that. And, I guess I'm kind of pulling back the curtain right now. This show has been growing for 2+ years. This show has grown about 90% of the months it is grown. 5% here, 10% here, some months 20, 25%. The show sits on, the top of the iTunes charts for self-help. Yet, it is still at a size where I am able to connect with you. It's just I prioritize that. It's so important to me that having the ability to create relationships with you when you reach out. So that's why I give my personal email address, because it really is a deposit into my tank when you reach out, and I want to be able to give back in that way. So mattcbivens@gmail.com. If you want to connect, if you want to share, like I said, suggestions, feedback, stories, anything, hit me up, mattcbivens@gmail.com. And finally, before we jump into the episode, I just want to give a quick plug to the brand new tool that I have on the website. It's called the Abundance Benchmark. And it's a really powerful tool for helping you to experience more abundance in the areas of your life that matter most. And it's a self-assessment. You go through and you're going to score yourself in the 6 areas, the 6 F's: faith, family, friends, fitness, finance, and fun. It's going to reveal where you have opportunities to create and experience more abundance. And it's going to give you some very specific suggestions for those areas where you feel like you want to step up. And that's all at MatthewBivens.com. It's totally free. You just drop in your name and your email, and you can download it, and you get it instantly. And it's a really awesome tool, and a bunch of you have already grabbed it. So if you haven't, jump over to the website, MatthewBivens.com, and that's where you can do that. All right, let's flow into today's episode. I've been excited about this one. It's sort of a continuation of an episode that I did a few weeks ago, which was all about my morning and nighttime routines. If you haven't listened to that one, I would go check it out. It's called The Morning and Nighttime Routines That Have Helped Me Win at Life. And so this one's sort of similar because I'm going to be sharing with you my success rituals, the rituals that I do to help empower my health, relationships, business, and spirituality. And the reason I want to talk about these things is, I really want to get you to reflect on your rituals, on your habits, and how they're impacting your life every single day. And rituals, I use that word because those are simply actions that you perform in a certain order. You have rituals for waking up, you have rituals for going to sleep, and rituals for a whole bunch of things. But many times we don't really think about our rituals. We just get into them and our bodies go on to autopilot. But when we are being intentional about our rituals, then we have a major opportunity to influence ourselves to better health, to influence ourselves to more wealth, to influence our relationships, and really influence the connection that we have to Source, to God, to that higher power. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you my rituals in those 4 areas: health, relationships, business, and spirituality. And again, these are just some habits, things that I do. And my list is, the ones I'm sharing with you today, they're pretty cemented in there. But I'm always open to shifting and adding things. And when something doesn't work for me, I let it go. I let it go because there's so many possibilities for these rituals and these habits that, if something's not working, it's just not worth my time to keep doing it if I'm getting results that I'm not happy with. And that's a great way for you to think about these. Where in your life are you getting results that you are unhappy with? Results that you don't like? Results that don't work for you? Results that you constantly are feeling frustrated by or feeling sad by or whatever? Those are areas to investigate the habits and the rituals that are creating those results, right? Because we're all co-creators. And I know you want to experience that abundant, loving life. So let's dive into this. First, I'm going to share my health rituals. And I listed these out because I wanted to make sure that I hit a bunch of them. And so I'm going to kind of just go through my list. The very first thing that I do for my health, and I have done for a while now, is I work with a coach. And you're going to see that throughout, I think, all 4 of these. The importance of working with a coach, working with somebody who's been there, who's done that, who can, in my case, my coach really helps give a perspective that I don't have. He's got wisdom. He's got experience in things. This man is a voracious reader. He has books like Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Power versus Force, books that are like in tatters because he's read them so many times, to the point where he can be thinking of something and he'll open the book and flip right to the page and right to the section. Think about that. Like, the ability to do that means you've read something so many times. I don't know if there's any book that I could just think of a passage and open it and go right to it. But he's done that. And so to have him coach me means that I get access to all of that wisdom and all that information. And then he also helps point out my blind spots. And, in the health aspect of things, in his former life, he was a personal trainer. So I get nutrition advice, I get fitness advice, I get, training advice and things like that. So working with a coach, I was doing that when I was an athlete, a soccer player. I'm still an athlete, right? We are all athletes. But when I was formerly playing soccer, I always had a coach. That ended when I went to college. And it wasn't until years later that I hired a coach again to get that sort of guidance and feedback. So the first thing that I do with my health is I work with a coach. The second thing I do is I have an app. I've plugged it a few times on the show. I've dropped the name. And it's an app called the Balance Chart. And I've been using this for about 5 years now. And it is my favorite fitness accountability app. And it is a hybrid habit tracker and a way for me to share my magical moments. And it's available currently for Android users. You can go to the Google Play Store and type in Your Day Balance Game. And then for iPhone users, you could get the web version of the app. But I play on this app with my balance chart with a goal of getting 90% of my habits completed each week. So my balance chart is customized to me. It's customized to the goals that I have and the areas of my body that I want to work on. And I'll break it down real quick. Balance chart. Balance is an acronym. B is breath. A is aqua. L is lengthen. A, anaerobic. N, nutrition. C, cleanse. E, energize. There are habits that I have created for myself in each of those 7 building blocks. And so my goal each week is to complete 90% of those habits. That is big, right? Like, if I'm knocking out 90% of the things that I say I'm going to do, not only am I living in integrity with myself, my say to do ratio is high, but I'm addressing all areas of my body, my mind, my spirit, because of the way the balance chart habits are created and are set up. Because again, that balance acronym covers everything from my breathing to my running to weightlifting to dating my wife to reading spiritual texts to meditating to sleeping well to making love to drinking water. It covers all of it. So if I'm hitting 90%, then boom, I'm getting my stuff done. That's what I play for. I also play to maintain a pro lifestyle. And again, this is related to my magic, taking my game day and scoring in the pro. When I hit that pro level about a year and a half ago, it was probably almost 2 years ago, because it was right before I became a dad. And I said it would be amazing to stay at the pro level while being a new father, right? While all of these additional stresses and circumstances have been piled on my plate, to keep my health high, to keep my performance capacity high, for those who know about the PC balance. Keeping my PC high. And that's what I look to maintain a pro lifestyle. So those two things, the playing on the BC at a 90% and maintaining the pro lifestyle, those are accountability measures for me, right? Like, they're easy things for me to measure, to say, where are my numbers? Where's my data? And the data is simply how I've been showing up. The data is simply feedback from my life. So those are 3 things right there. Work with a coach, BC goal of 90%, pro lifestyle. The next thing that I do for my health is I really listen to my body. I make it a habit to listen to my body and to answer when my body's communicating. So, your body, my body, wants to be in a state of energy, a state of health, a state of vitality. That's what the body wants to do. We have all these systems. We have all these organs that are meant to cleanse and to process and to renew and refresh our body and our cells and our mind. That's what, so our body wants to be in that optimal state. But the things that we put into our body, our food, the liquids that we put in, the information we take in through our eyes and our ears, they create toxins in the body. And so I really try to pay attention to any aches I'm feeling, any pains I'm feeling, any sluggishness I'm feeling, especially if any of those things are chronic, because those are signals that my body is telling me something's up, right? And chronic pain or chronic discomfort can be easy to ignore. It's almost like if you've been feeling it for a while, you kind of figuratively become numb to it, even if literally things are still hurting. Like for me, my lower back on my left side, that has been bothering me for almost 2 years now, I'd say. And I've started seeing a chiropractor a couple of years ago, and just really have been paying attention to that. And I've been looking at some of the physical reasons why it might be acting up, as well as some of the metaphysical reasons, because I'm a believer in some of that metaphysical stuff, right? Like if you're familiar with Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, she drops all these metaphysical reasons why our body starts to act up and starts to send us signals. So back pain can be me feeling like I have to carry the load, whether it's like a financial load or an emotional load. I'm carrying the load on my body. So I try to pay attention when my body's talking to me. And similar to that, the last thing that I'm really doing constantly, let me go back. So how am I paying attention to my body? Well, I create moments of stillness throughout my day, moments where I can just tune in. And a lot of times that's meditation, when I'm just sitting and being peaceful. Sometimes it's being mindful when I'm going on long walks with my dogs, or when I'm sometimes driving. But it's just, I can be active all day long. I could be on my feet. I can be moving. I can be doing this, doing that. And when I'm doing that, I'm not always paying attention to what my body is telling me. So creating time throughout my day to just calm myself down so that I can listen to what's going on. And like I said, then I'll address it from there. And the last ritual I have for my health to help keep my, empower me is really this one is more, I guess it's kind of emotional too, but to address my attachments. I'm talking about grudges. I'm talking about chronic worries. I'm talking about fears that are preventing me from stepping into a greater version of myself. Those things I have felt show up in my body, right? Like I know what it has been like, what it feels like for my body to be in a state of anxiety because I'm scared of something that keeps coming up. I've been in jobs where a part of the role scared me. I didn't want to move through that fear, so I just kept feeling scared and anxious going into work. Those are things that we can shift. We can heal some of those things. We can, transmute that energy. And that's what I truly try to do on a regular basis. Become aware when I'm feeling a grudge towards somebody, when I keep having disempowering thoughts or feelings directed at a person. That stuff is showing up in my body. That energy, right? Like that energy, it is just energy first and foremost. So I'm becoming aware of it and noticing when and how it becomes stored in my body. Same thing with worries, same thing with fears. So addressing those things is huge for me in my health, because when I release them, then my body no longer has that toxic energy flowing through it. So that's what I do for my health. Working with a coach, having accountability measures, tuning into my body. Those are some of the rituals I've created around health. Let's move to relationships. Relationships are awesome. You all love the relationship episodes. And a lot of questions and feedback is around relationships. And it's one of the areas that has been on my mind since I became aware that there were women in the world and that I wanted to connect with those women. So for many, many years, I've had relationships on my mind. And so I've had a long time to create success habits and rituals around them, because for a long time, I didn't have very successful habits with relationships. I didn't have super successful relationships. So today, I'm much more intentional. Sarah and I are much more intentional about our relationship and the relationships that we cultivate with other people. And so one of the first things that I'm not going to say that I do, it's more of have done, but I've created. Sarah and I surround ourselves with people who support and nourish our marriage. And it was not necessarily something I thought about before getting married, but having a community, having a rich community of people that we can turn to when we need someone to watch the baby, when her and I need some alone time, a date night, some intimate time. People who are going to hold us accountable to our marriage goals and our vision, what we want to create and experience as a married couple. Having folks who know that vision, who we share it with, who can then hold us accountable to it, who can support us through the ups and the downs. And if you've listened to the Abundant Love episode, then you'll get this, but people who love on us and fill up our tanks so that we're not relying 100% on each other to be everything, to provide everything. So that community has been huge for us. And, having people who just love us for us and want to support the things that we're into and support our marriage and our partnership is amazing and has been huge. The next thing in our relationship that has really helped to empower us is understanding and really buying into the idea that we're playing for our individual greatness. Yes, we're married and we chose to be married and we want to be married. But I have to make sure that me, Matthew, I'm taken care of, right? And it's up to me to find within myself and cultivate within myself my own sense of peace, my own sense of joy, my own sense of approval and acceptance. In the past, what led to a lot of unhealthy relationships is that I wanted those things from my partner. I wanted my partner to deliver my happiness. I wanted my partner to deliver my joy, my peace. And that was a tricky request. I'll just say it that way. So Sarah and I, we're here to support one another in our individual visions, in our individual goals, in who we want to be as individuals. We are here to support one another. And we are choosing to walk side by side on our paths. Again, we want to be married. I love her so much. I tell her I love you completely. That's my thing. Or if I'm really feeling like getting some points, I say I adore you. I'm just letting you in today on today's episode. But we choose each other and we've wanted this. And so, supporting our individual ideas of what it looks like to be fulfilled, what it looks like to be self-actualized, what it looks like for us to be turned on in every single way, that's what both of us have bought into 100%. And it's not even this idea of buying into it. That's what we believe. And when we came into our relationship and over the years, it was, oh, wow, I really do believe this. And you really do believe this. Beautiful. Well, let's support one another and let's walk together and create an awesome partnership. So that being said, that's the individual things. Again, we're married and we're committed to our primary relationship. I'm committed to her. She's committed to me. And so, we're both committed to our family. We're both committed to the vision that we want to create, to our joint future. And both of these ideas can exist at the same time, right? You can play for your individual greatness and be committed to your partnership and to your marriage. Those things are not mutually exclusive. And so those ideas and those beliefs, Sarah and I have absolutely internalized. Another thing that's probably a little bit more tangible, I guess, love languages. If you've ever heard of the book 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, we love it. Sarah and I really dig this concept. This is the idea that we all want to be loved in different ways. And it's so important to create a thriving partnership, one way to help create a thriving partnership is to understand how your partner wants to be loved and understand how you want to be loved. Because oftentimes it can be different. And if I want to be loved in one way and you want to be loved in another way, and all I'm doing is saying, hey, I'm going to love you in the way that I like, well, guess what? It's not working, right? And one person feels like they aren't getting love while the other person feels like they keep giving love. So the 5 love languages is a way for each of us to understand what our love languages are. And so for Sarah, her love languages are quality time, gifts, and words of affirmation. My love languages are physical touch, words of affirmation, and acts of service. So now that we've taken the quiz, we've read the book, and we understand what our love languages are and each other's love languages are, well, now I can do that for her, right? I can love her in her language, and she can receive it because she's being loved on in the way that she wants to be loved on, and vice versa for me. So go check it out if you haven't. Just Google 5 love languages. You can go to their website, and they have a little quiz that you can take, you and your partner. And you can understand what your love language is, and you can understand what their love language is, and then you can go off and love on each other in the way that each of you will be able to receive. Because in the past, I was loving on people the way that I like to be loved on, and they didn't receive it. It's not their fault, yet I was blaming them, and it created frustration, and I'm sure you can relate. So love languages, that's another thing that we do to help create an awesome relationship. We also do consistent date nights. Now, before we got pregnant, we were going on Saturday night dates. That was important to us. Every Saturday night we would go out. And we committed to keeping our Saturday night dates through our pregnancy and through when we became parents. And we still keep our Saturday night dates. And we actually added a Wednesday night date as well. So we'll do a Wednesday, typically a lunch date. And a lot of times we take Maya with us, but sometimes we don't. And we just go and grab lunch, just the 2 of us. And then Saturday nights, we'll go do our date night. And of course, sometimes we don't do it, but it is something that is very important to us, right? And we do everything we can to not let circumstances come into play to, mess up the date night. It becomes a little bit more challenging when you do have a kid because you have to arrange, I'm not going to say have to, but arranging childcare can sometimes become challenging, but we're really committed to our date night. We really are. And it's a great opportunity for us to just reconnect and to, strengthen that bond. And I love it. And, it's Tuesday right now. So tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll probably go grab lunch somewhere. And then Saturday, I might reach out to my community here in Atlanta and see who can watch the baby girl on Saturday night so that Sarah and I can go out and get our date on. So that's something that we've done as well. And lastly, what's really helped us create a badass relationship, honest communication. Honest communication. And this is something we have been working on since the 8 years that we've known each other. And there's always room to grow in communication. We prioritize being open, being honest, being transparent, being bold, and being authentic with one another. And it can be freaking hard. It really can. Because sometimes you don't want to share what's on your mind. I know for me, that's been my struggle, is just not wanting to share. And then other times you want to be considerate of their feelings, considerate of, cautious because you don't want to create a fight. But there's boldness and there's courage that comes with communication that really allows you to work through things when there are things, And so we've worked at it for 8 years. We've worked at, okay, we want to be honest with one another. And we had a moment just the other day where I wanted some honesty from Sarah around a business scenario, and I didn't feel like I was getting it. So I said, babe, be brutally honest with me. Because when you're honest, it allows me to see when I'm bullshitting myself. I need you to be totally honest. And then she really shared, and it helped me to gain some perspective on what I was struggling with. And I appreciate that. It's not always easy to hear. A lot of times honesty can suck to hear. You don't want to hear that. But when you can surrender your ego and humble yourself, then you can just look at the information for what it is, take from it what you need, and grow and progress past the areas where you're stuck. So honest communication. And what happens from that communication is you can build trust. Trust builds that honest communication. Honest communication can build that trust. And those two things are so huge in relationships. So huge, so huge. So that's what we're doing in our relationships. And it's a beautiful thing. And you know what I'm going to do? I know I said I was going to go through health, relationships, business, and spirituality, but I'm almost at like 30 minutes, maybe even more. I'm going to cut it off. Cliffhanger. This might be the first cliffhanger in the history of the Having It All podcast. But I'm going to cut this episode right here. And then on the next episode, I'm going to pick up with business and spirituality. And so those are two areas that I have absolutely created some rituals in to help me. I've been an entrepreneur for 6 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, I don't know. But in order to do that and to maintain this lifestyle and work for myself and now do it as a parent who primarily works from home and has to contend with having a baby around and make time for things, my habits and my rituals are so important for me to be able to get done what I need to get done and to do it in a way that allows me to maintain a balanced lifestyle, because there's no way that I'm going to be up here on the mic talking to you all about abundance and love and those 6 F's, and here I am when I turn the mic off, totally out of whack, totally out of balance. No way. That's not happening. So these rituals that I've created and cultivated and practiced over the years have helped me to be amazing in my role as an entrepreneur, as a creator, as a leader, and then on the flip side, be amazing in my role as a father, as a husband, as a friend. So I'm going to share those rituals. And then spirituality. That was one of the areas of my life that I did not really have any reps, and I really didn't think I needed. I always equated spirituality with religion. And when I left the church when I was a teenager, I never really felt like I was going to go back to formal religion. So I never really sought out to create any sort of spiritual practice. But as I got older, I recognized that they are very different. Religion, spirituality, faith, those are all different things. I want to say I did a podcast about that, the difference in religion, spirituality, and faith. And so I have created habits and rituals around my spirituality so that I can connect with Source. And I'm going to share those as well. So all of that stuff is going to be on the next episode. And I appreciate you for listening, for hanging out with me today. I love it. I love that you're here. I love that you're looking to level up in all these areas of your life. And let's continue these conversations. Reach out to me. Share with me what your success rituals are in health and in relationships. What's been working for you? What do you look back on and be like, man, you know what? I'm so inspired that I've been keeping these rituals up for so long. Tell me about it. And so next time you will hear me talk about business and spirituality. And until then, my name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.